Hi, welcome to our first live walkthrough of a problem-based code. My name is Ashley Cohen. Today I'm going to be going through a script that I wrote to go through a FASTA file and to delete duplicate entries, then rewrite a new FASTA file out. And I do want to mention before you do get started on this, you'll see at the top of the script, I've written import numpy as numpy. This is because I'm importing a Python library, called numpy. And by doing as, I'm renaming it in a shorthand that I like to use. So I could call on it by using np rather than numpy. And I also, in the binder notebook, you will have to write a command to install the library before you use it. And I'll post that in the notes. So don't worry about that right now. The first thing,
if you want to take that back, we can actually just make the binder install it the first time.
Okay, so I just write it in. Like I'll just start a kernel.
No. I would just go back and do that a little bit again. Well, when people launch the binder, we can do an install before the binder even runs. So numpy will just be installed.
You mean just like writing it into the...
Yeah, we'll set the environment for it and it'll install numpy.
Okay, well, whoops. Okay.
You want to take it from the top?
Sure.
Okay, give it a pause and then go again.
Hi, my name is Ashley Cohen. Welcome to the first live walkthrough of a problem-based code for the Python BioVCN. Today, I'm going to show you a Python code I wrote to work through a FASTA file, delete duplicate entries, and rewrite a new FASTA file to use for whatever you need to. So the approach I'm taking is I'm going to go through my code line by line and explain to you what each step does. And if you need to refer to that later, I've added a lot of comments, which are indicated with the hashtags. So here at the top, I have a Python library import. If you need to use a Python library, you always have to import it beforehand by using the structure import and then the library. And if you choose to rename the library with any kind of a shorthand, you can do so. So here I've imported the Python library numpy as np, meaning that I can use the shorthand np to call on that library's functions whenever I need it. Okay, so the first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna import our FASTA file. So here in this line, I've written file1 equals, and then I've used the Python function open, and this opens up my FASTA file, and I have the file path written first, then a comma, and then the letter R. That R indicates that it's a read-only file, meaning I'm not going to alter it or write into it. The next thing that I'm doing here is I'm declaring a string variable called allText, and that is equal to file1, or the file we just read in, .read. So now I have allText as one giant chunk of string. The next thing that we need to do is open our output file, or the file that we're going to write our altered FASTA file into. So here I've declared a variable out file as open, and I have the name I want to call that file. And then notice that rather than the R, I have W, meaning it's a write file. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to declare a variable entries equal to all text, meaning that giant string of all text in my FASTA file, dot split caret. Now, if you recall the string.split method from our prior lesson, what it does is it splits a string into a list along a given delimiter. So in this case, I'm looking for the caret, which defines the beginning of each FASTA entry, and I'm splitting my string, or the whole file in this case, into a list of files split along that header. Here, you'll see I have one of our list functions, del or delete, and I'm deleting the first entry by index or by index 0. The reason that I'm doing that is because since we've used that caret entry indicator to split all the string, then the very first entry being treated like a delimiter is going to result in the first item just being an empty string. Okay. So the next thing I've done is I've declared an empty list called IDs, which is where we are going to store all of our IDs. And I've set up a for loop. For entry in entries. That means for each entry in my list of entries, I'm declaring a variable ID end, and I'm using the string.find method to search for the first occurrence of a period, which in my case indicates the end of the accession number in each header. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that index to define a variable called ID. So here I'm using our string indexing and slicing methods, and I'm saying ID equals entry colon, meaning from the beginning of the string, to that index. And that should retrieve the accession number. Now that I have retrieved the accession number, I'm going to append it as an item into that list IDs. Just to show you how we can use these kind of string manipulation methods to get other information, even though we're not going to pull it out or do anything with it, I've also printed the taxonomy from each entry here. So you can see tax start and tax end are my indices for the beginning and end of the taxonomy information. The beginning of each taxonomy entry is separated from the beginning of the header with a space. So I've done entry.find space. And then the end of the taxonomy information is the very first new line character in the entry. So doing it that way, you can actually retrieve the taxonomy information by doing entry and then slicing the string by using those indices. So that was just an aside. Now let's get on to the main task here. For ID in numpy.unique IDs, right? So now what I'm doing is I'm using a numpy function .unique, which is incredibly useful for sorting because what it does is it will take any list and it returns only the unique elements. So what I'm saying here is for each unique ID, if IDs.count ID, meaning in that original list of IDs with everything that we pulled from the file, if that ID, that unique ID occurs more than one time, it's a duplicate, right? And if it is a duplicate, what I'm doing here is I'm then creating a list that retrieves all of the indices or occurrences of that ID in my list, right? Now that I have that list of indices, I'm using our list delete function, entries, and then I'm taking that inds list colon -1. So remember -1 is the last entry of a list. Also remember that when we slice a list, that the stop index doesn't include that entry. So what I'm saying here is go to the list entries and delete all occurrences except the last one. Effectively, what this does is it deletes everything except one unique occurrence. So now what I have is my list entries with all only unique items. What I'm going to do to create our FASTA output is I'm going to use the string.join method now to take everything from the list and join it back into a string. So what I'm doing here is I'm initializing a string called outString with a caret, which is our header symbol. And then I say outString.join entries. So now what it's doing is it's taking each item in entries and it is joining them with that caret header in between. Now I'm actually going to take outString and I'm going to say outFile.write. Remember, that's our write file that we opened, outString. Now that I'm done with all of our files, I'm going to do file.close for each one.
Nice. Do you want to open up a terminal and run the code so people can just see what that would look like?
Yeah.
So file, new, terminal. If you, the new drop down up at the top, up at the top.
Got it.
No. I was thinking more of like just like a regular. Yeah, close that. Go to file, new, right there at the top, terminal.
Mm-hmm.
And then do you have to install numpy? And yeah, you'd have to install numpy here. Pip install. And then I would hit clear, or I would enter clear. Just start from fresh. No, like type clear. The word clear. Yeah. And then just do like Python remove dupes and explain that to run the code, I'm going to call Python, I'm going to run it, and then just open up the file at the end to show that it's.
So now I have Python open.
Does that work? I don't think that's not what I meant. Don't worry about it then. If we don't have to actually show it.
No, wait a second, because now this is annoying me.
Uh-huh. I mean, I would close out this Python instance. No, you can just Control C or quit or whatever.
Just do that.
You got to do quit. Open parentheses, close parentheses.
Oh, right.
So I would just type Python space remove dupes.py.
Sorry, I'm not used to running it this way.
There you go. That's your output. Oh, but now you have an error.
No. Seriously? Damn it.
List
because I messed with
must
it.
be integers or slices, not list.
That should. But I mean, ins is a list of indexes.
But now you have a list there, right? Because of the colon.
Yeah, that's annoying.
I mean, don't worry about the recording. I would just make sure that that code is clean and running in the
Yeah, yeah, I shouldn't have messed with it in the aftermath,
yeah.
but yeah, yeah, I can just fix that.
Because I think what you want really is like indices 0, right? Like ignore all the ones except for the first instance of it.
Right. So I think why I originally formatted it as like deleting the last entry is because of a specific application where there were only two instances of
Sure.
each
Yeah, yeah.
one. But
Yep.
um yeah, now I see that. I'm gonna have to fix that. Um
That's okay. I mean, we got to make some changes to this binder anyway. So let's do this. X out of this. This won't be used at all. Let's X out of this terminal. No, no, no. I'm just saying X out of the terminal. Let's look at the remove dupes for a second.
yeah.
Can we make a change here at all? Can you edit the text here?
I'm not can we
I
save?
mean, just try typing.
Uh sure.
Yeah, yeah. So go back, delete all that. And then just change that slice
The
to a
thingy, yeah.
0, and then we'll just re-record that one element to it, right? Whatever you think you said there.
Yep. I'm wondering, I don't think I can like save it in place though. I think I have to update the one in the
No, that's
GitHub.
fine. That's fine. You should do that. You should update the one that's in the binder directly. So let me go back to full screen, and then we'll just. I mean, it's going to go from like a -1 to a 0 in the like recording, but talk about it as if like you got to the end of that. You talk about ins and you've gotten to your indices, and now tell us what delete's going to do. Give it a pause and then go.
Sure.
No, you can just start from there. We're just talking. We're just doing like a pickup.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
know.
Okay.
Okay, so now I have declared the variable entries as all text.split. Um, as I just explained, now what we're going to do is we're going to.
Ashley,
Oh no, wait, Ben.
pause. You just have to do that one line. Go back down to the bottom, and
Yeah, but I'm saying this doesn't. Where is it?
it's just line 41.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's the line.
Yeah, but see, it's not right. We don't want to delete anymore. We want to just keep the index.
Oh yeah. Okay. So then.
So yeah, it's
Good point.
going to be a little
Great point.
different. Let's see. I mean, in this case, if we're not dropping anything and we don't need indices, I don't think we need a list of ins. We just say, oh no, you have to delete everything though the way I did it.
Yeah.
Fuck. Man, it worked so well when there were only two of each.
Yeah. All right. We can figure this out. Let's give it a second. Okay. So it's currently, so ins is a list of indices. Now we're capturing the one that we want to keep.
If we want to delete everything else, then we need to delete everything other than the last index or the first index.
Yes.
Oh, so what we want is in ins, if that's the list of everything, then we just why can't we just have like what I put before where it was like ins
Because
like
if there's 2, you're now giving your the number that you want entries to delete, which can only accept 1 index. You're giving it multiple. You're giving it a list, right? Like, because it's not just one entity anymore.
oh duh, I know. You'd have to do another for loop like
Yes. Yeah.
for ind and ins, and then you have to do this.
Yep.
Oh god damn it. Okay. For delete. But then this would be like,
yeah, so for ins and ins from 0, from 1 onwards or whatever, right?
in range 1 or lane, like this.
I think you could do, if you just put the list of ins so that you were leaving out that 0, whatever the 0 in, number is, right? So if the list is, if you want 0, if you just did it as 1 colon, right? Capture everything that's greater than 0. So like if it was like for ind in ins bracket or square brace 0 to or 1 to everything, right? That should do that.
Like
1. I think you want 1, yeah, like that.
Yeah.
Right? Because that would leave just the 0 by itself, or the first index by itself. Correct? I think so. Right, and then now it doesn't matter how long ins is. It could be 1,000, and it just reads.
Yeah. I didn't think about that because with the original thing I had, I was like, oh, there's only ever 2. So
yeah. So just make a change to the comment, and then we'll be good. Great. Perfect. All right. You ready to describe it?
Well, first I should see if it works.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I was gonna suggest that, and I was like, well, maybe we don't want to push our luck. Just open up another terminal again and just do that Python run situation.
Yeah. File.
New. There's a drop down menu. Yeah, terminal.
Okay.
I would double check to make sure the contents of remove dupes is saved. I don't know how.
I hit Control S.
Okay. Save and complete. Got it. Cool. Yep. So hit Python run dupes.
Pip install. I shouldn't have to do again.
You don't have to do that again.
Okay. Python. No.
Balls. Delete the corresponding list index out of range.
Seriously?
Maybe it's not. Maybe it's 0 colon. Maybe I'm doing that. Maybe I'm thinking about that wrong.
Let's take a look.
Yeah, just I would change that 1 to a 0 and see if that changes it. Because that makes sense, right? Like if the list was too long and we said 1 colon, then that would be looking for the 3rd index.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So save it. Try it again.
No.
Fuck.
No. This sucks.
All right. Let's go back to remove dupes. It's up on the tab. Yeah. For indices. Yeah. Let's do a. You want to do a? Hold on. I'm gonna exit out. I don't want to stop recording. I don't think I want to stop recording. I'm gonna play around. So what do we do here? We did for ind in and yes. We said 0. Nothing. I'm going to print ins. Okay, so it's seeing the duplicates. We do want that. So list assignment indices out of range. So it's getting to something and it's trying to Hmm.
I mean, it only ever makes ends if there's more than one occurrence. So there should never be a list that's only one thing long anyway.
I agree with you.
Which means if I start at one, it shouldn't be a problem.
No, I agree with that too. All right, I'm trying to rerun it again. Oh, so it didn't like this second version of it. All right, I'm just gonna comment those out for a second. I'm just gonna print ends as it is. Okay, so printing ends is fine. In both cases, it creates a list that has two elements in it. But for some reason, when we tell it to oh, oh, what about that? I know what it is. You want it to just say delete entries end because you're getting the indices.
Oh, right.
There you go. That works. Hold on, let's see what you got going. So I've made some changes. So yeah, so this is what I have in my code. My code says for end in ends, bracket 1 colon, close bracket, colon. And then the next line is just delete entries end.
Ends.
Just one.
Right, because.
Just IND. Just IND.
Yep.
No.
Yeah, because end is already the item. Yeah.
So save that and try running that.
Because it's already an index. Haha.
Yeah.
So funny. Haha. Okay. Should be fine.
You can just hit up. If you hit up, it'll bring up the last. Because you're missing Python right now.
All right. Good.
There you go. Okay, so close out this tab and then just explain this for loop and then we're good to go.
Oh,
that's
right.
That's not gonna work there.
Yeah, I'm still in Bash. Forgot.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the other thing I just also thought of is for outstring, if I initialize it with the caret, then there's still not going to be a caret at the first one. The first entry.
Yeah, you're right. Okay.
So I have to just stick it. So I do out string equals
caret plus just outstring. Yeah. Great. Save it. Run it. You have to open the terminal again, and then let's double check the file works, and then we'll be good.
Yeah, this is what I get the last minute. Okay.
All right, now go double click on the file. Work. Great. Close it out. Call it done.
Done.
Close it out. All right, let's do it. Let's give it a pause. I'm going to mute my mic. So do everything from that for loop down, and then we'll be good to go.
Next time, I'm going to look it over the day before.
I think that's a great idea.
Because I read it and I was like, that makes sense.
Number one thing about teaching people how to code, make sure code works.
Yeah, I mean, so the problem was this did work.
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
for my
It did
original
work for
purpose.
a very specific subset, and if we didn't want to carrot.
Yeah, so it worked for what I needed it to do before, and then I forgot to like universalize it.
That's fine.
Uh,
Okay.
my bad.
The other option is have a very specific goal that you're setting and then just do that.
My bad.
Okay,
Okay.
that's fine. Okay, so from that for ends, um, take us all the way to the end, and then we'll be good to go.
So now what we're going to do is we're going to take that list of indices or the indexes in the list of the items that occur more than once. So here I've typed for in ins 1 colon. Now, if you remember from our list and string slicing, that means from the first position, or no, sorry, yes, the index 1 position to the end, delete those indices. So what this loop is doing is it's deleting everything other than the first occurrence from the string.
Sorry, I didn't have the screen in the right spot. Can you start again from that start point?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So now what we're doing is we're taking that list of indices or all of the list indices for those entries that occur more than once, and we're going to do a for loop that deletes everything other than the first occurrence. So this loop says for in ins 1 colon. We remember from string and list slicing that this means from index 1 all the way to the end, meaning excluding index 0 or the first item. Delete that thing by index. So what I'm doing in this loop is I'm going through each occurrence and I'm deleting that text except for the first occurrence. Now that I have my cleaned up list, which contains only unique entries, we're going to join our list of strings back together into one string for output. So here I have a variable called outString that I'm initializing with the caret or our header symbol, and then I'm using the string.join method to join our list back together into a string with each entry separated by that caret. And now what I've done after that is I've concatenated a caret with all that text. And the reason for that is the first entry in the string will not have the caret because the caret is only occurring in between joins. So now that we have outString in our final format, we are going to write it to our out file. So we do outfile.write, and then we put outString in the parentheses. And now that our output is finished, we're going to close all the files that we opened, right? So I'm closing file 1, which was our original read-in file, and I'm closing out file, or the file that we wrote.
Give us an outro.
Okay, that wraps it up. Why don't we take a look at our output really fast? Now that should have appeared. And we can see all our FASTAs starting with that entry, right, that header. Thank you for tuning in, and all of this content, meaning the FASTA files, the Python scripts, are available on our GitHub if you are interested in running it. In the live demo link that we shared on our Slack, you can also find the launch badge to the notebook, as well as an explanation for what a FASTA file is and the formatting. So we'll see you next time.
Perfect. So I'm going to
do your magic editing.
Yeah, I mean, there's some stuff there, but it's not that big of a deal. So what I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to stop you from sharing.
Okay, and I have to definitely update this.
Yeah. So your goal is just to make sure the code works and make that update to the binder repo.
Mhm.
I will contact Mike because I want to make sure I do it correctly for the pip install. I forget if it needs to be in the bash script or if it's something that we can put in the environment file, but we'll figure that out. It doesn't matter because this video is not going to go up until tomorrow anyway, so
Mhm.
we'll have it done by then. So if you can just make the changes to the code, I'm going to record. I'm going to get rid of your video, and I'm going to record a quick opening for this lesson, and then that'll be it.
Cool.
Cool, 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 cool. Oh, what's this? Why is it showing you? You no longer have video streaming, so why do they want you to be the person? Anyway, I'm gonna pin my video. I'm gonna make myself big. Thanks for joining us for lesson 4 of Python for the BVCN. So this is going to be the start of a new style that we're going to do for the rest of the length of the network. Is what we're going to do is we're going to be writing code that has a specific task involved related to bioinformatics. There'll be a live session, which you can join if you're part of our Slack community, where we'll go through step by step and look at the pieces of the code as it goes through. And then what you're about to see is our first example of this lesson 4, led by Ashley Cohen, where she'll just walk through the completed Python script to show you what happened along the way, with more of a finalized version of what the code will look like. So if you want to take part and look at the individual pieces, please join the live session. If you're just here to understand how some of these codes would be written and the style that they would be written in, and how you would achieve some of these kind of straightforward goals within bioinformatics and Python, then please enjoy the video. Did that make sense?
Think so.
All right, great. All right, that's it. We're done. Thanks. I'll do some editing, and it'll look almost okay.
Or will it look like one of those like YouTube remix videos?
Yeah, it's exactly what it's going to look like. Okay, I'll talk to you later.
All right. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.